What's going on YouTube? Reedie here from Reedie and Z, and we are back. Reedie has finally come back off of his hiatus, his privacy that I wanted, that I asked for right after the game, after we got mollywopped up at the link. I am here alongside my co-host Z, and we're here to talk about this off season, man. Like, it's up for us, man. Like, you know, people are scared. What they saying, Z? What they saying?
Man, a lot of fans are scared. It's a lot of a lot of our coaches are in the mix for a lot of positions out here. So stay tuned, man. It's getting scary.
And Reedie and Z starts now. What's up, bro? How you been these last couple of days since I last seen you up at the link, where we walked out of there with our heads held high, but our feelings were not to say the best feelings walking out of that stadium.
Yeah, bro, I'm feeling all right, man. I'm rejuvenated. I'm regrouped. What I mean? Like you said, walked out of the link head high. What I mean? Definitely I stood there and embraced the moment, embraced all the hate, some of the praise. And what I mean? I left there feeling okay, but now I'm definitely motivated to move into this off season and kind of lock in and just, what I mean, get ready for the draft and what I mean, chop it up and see what we gonna do out here. It's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done. And let's start it off with first things first. We have a new president in the building, and talk a little bit about the new president and what he said to you at the game at the link. He pulled up on Z. I was a little far ahead. I was stepping, trying to hurry up and get to my seats for the festivities. So I kind of left Z and got out of there. But he ran into the new team president, and he had a good conversation with him. So talk about that, Z.
Yeah, definitely. Was walking up the ramp to our seats. Mark Klaus, as you see the picture here on the screen, he stopped there and commended me and said, thank you for, supporting the team and coming out. He was the new team president. I let him know I had already knew who he was. And definitely appreciate him stopping and, chopping it up with me. Asked for a picture. He was proud to take a picture. And he just said it's a lot of great things to come for our team, but he wanted to make sure specifically that he stopped and interacted with fans and let us know that, he cares, he appreciates us, and that, what I mean, just sticking there is gonna be up. So definitely a nice guy, seemed very approachable. And what I mean, just something like that, what I mean, like while the team president walking up and talking to me, I didn't have to say nothing first. Just shows that real personal dude. And what I mean, he just fits the mold of what we say about Josh Harris and the rest of the guys, and what they're bringing to this organization. And the fan experience is big. And that was definitely something that I appreciated. And like Reedie said, I was definitely calling Reedie trying to get him to get in the picture as well. But he was stepping.
Yeah, man, I had to fight my way through the crowd. They was popping their shit as usual, as every time we go up there, they popping their shit or whatever. And I'm stepping just like, dog, ain't nobody worrying about y'all, champ.
Yeah,
Keeping it
facts.
moving. On my way to my seats, because we were kind of up there a little bit for this game. And it was a step. I ain't gonna lie. Then we used to doing. We're normally down in that bowl, but really couldn't fade them 15, 16, $1,700 tickets down there. So had to go up top. It wasn't too much less, but it was a significant amount cheaper. And I just said I just needed to be in the building for the NFC Championship game, because I don't want to be that guy to get there and we go to a Super Bowl and I'm woulda, shoulda, coulda. And, damn, Z, we should have been in the building. Why we ain't going? Because we was being cheap, but we made it.
Absolutely. Definitely made it in there. Definitely was an experience, win or lose. Like you said, when we was sitting there, like, embrace this, bro. We're at the NFC Championship. You know what I mean? We witnessing history. And it definitely was exciting. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned on the last episode, we one of them guys, but we don't really, focus in on what everything costs. We kind of lock in on the experience because that's something that you never gonna take back or get back. And it was definitely a great experience, not only being with, my brother Reedie, but also being there with my wife, her being an Eagles fan and just kind of witnessing that. And it was dope. Shout out to my cousin Latria who rocked with us as well. It was definitely a great experience.
Shout out Latrell.
That part.
I cannot shout out the
That
ops.
part.
That part. And that's coming from the op, that part.
Go ahead.
So if you're watching this, you're reading on his shit today. He back. Nah, but
Fresh cut.
man,
Fresh cut. Shout out Reedy with the fresh cut, fresh
yeah, I'm out
fade.
here. You know what I'm saying?
He all the way
Yeah,
back.
you know.
He
Hey,
definitely out
I
of
ain't
that
really
hiatus.
ain't had a cut. Really ain't had a cut in probably about almost 2 months because I'm superstitious and I'm like, damn, see, I want to go get a cut, but I'm scared we gonna lose if I go get a cut. And that shit didn't fucking matter. We still lost. So it is what it is. Should have been when it got
Go
that damn cut. That shit don't mean that shit ain't
Facts.
about nothing.
Facts. I'm still whooping. I'm going into my birthday. I got about 2 more weeks.
Yeah, my wife told me last night, she was like, baby, don't go like that ever again. You look like a no shade to what I'm about to say, but she said you look like an African. I'm just saying. That's what she said. No shade.
Respect.
You know what I'm saying? Reading and Z, we embrace diversity, inclusion, and equality on this show, but I'm just saying what the lady said. That's all. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
jumping into this off season, like Z, what are the biggest moves that we need to make this off season coming up? Because we are here, Adam Peters and Mark's Lance Newmark. We're down at the Senior Bowl this week. We had some content that come out on the page. Shout out to Josh Taylor for he's down there covering the Senior Bowl for Bleacher Report. He's down there, so we've been posting a lot of the content that he's been getting down there. So speak about that a little bit, Z.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Josh. He's definitely been, getting some content, getting some insight on a lot of the players out there at the Senior Bowl that's been standing out. Yesterday he dropped a list of some players that he feel like that the Commanders have been keeping an extra eye on. A couple of them interviewed with the team, and just to name a few, we got Zy Alexander. These are DBs: Zy Alexander, Kobe Bryant, Mello Dotson. Robert Longerbean, Noah Williams, all DBs. We got an edge and Tyler Barron. Interior D lineman, Tonka Hemingway, Nazir Stackhouse. Stackhouse is the big guy that in Georgia. We got CJ West, Joshua Gray, Nash Jones. Well, these are offensive linemen now. Joshua Gray, Nash Jones, Sal Wormley. Kicker, Andreas Borregales or something like that. Borregales. I actually seen his name swirling around. They were showing pictures of him kicking, and he's that a lot of teams was kind of locked in on him. This year with kicker definitely being an issue for a lot of teams, and it's been kind of like a a lot of kickers moving in and out across the league. So kickers is definitely going to be super important, and it could be, a position where, people are drafting kickers again. It kind of fell off where kickers became a lot of undrafted free agents, but there was one point where people used to draft kickers. So won't be surprised if you see that, movement come back in the league. Also, running back Taj Brooks, he's one of the guys that stood out. Tight end Oronde Gaskin Jr. He plays for Syracuse. And then you got Ricky White, the third, Antoine Wells, um, Nick Nash, and then there's another guy, I think it's a Theo Wees. So yeah, it's a lot of a lot of guys that's standing out on that end. That we're definitely doing some extra study, and we're gonna do another episode where we kind of dig deeper into the prospects out there. But yeah, we we continue to working behind the scenes and trying to learn a lot about this. Reedy is typically the guy who's dialed into the draft and things like that. And I told him the other day, this year I'm gonna make sure I'm getting on my game as well because I wanna be able to kind of provide a true mark and know who some of these guys are. And having some real opinions on them. So with the Senior Bowl right here is See, this February, we about to hit February tomorrow. Free agency start in March. You know what I mean? Then you got the draft in April, so it's moving along. Super Bowl is gonna be on February 9th, but after that, all season start right after that. So it's a lot going on. And as you
No.
seen, AP and Dan Lance Newmark are at work already. They was there the next day, the morning after the game.
Yeah, but they said they was already necessarily going down there, win or lose that game. So, kind of it was, if you make it to the Super Bowl, you kind of get that bye week before the actual game. So, a lot of people, coaches that will be coming up for coordinator positions or elevated roles, assistant quarterbacks coaches or assistant linebackers coaches who are trying to get their own room, are able to interview this week. So yeah, that's what's up with that. But I'm letting y'all know here, Reedie's number one target in free agency, or not free agency, I'm sorry, in the draft, is going to be Savion Williams, wide receiver out of TCU. I feel like he's going to garner a third round pick. And I think that's good value. At that position. This draft isn't heavy on wide receivers, so I'm hearing this is not a draft that you want to go heavy. I'm hearing that this is a draft that you want to go heavy in the trenches when it relates to your defensive and offensive lines. I feel like we need to shore those positions up, because if you watch the same game that Reedie watched, we basically can't stop anybody and we can't stop the run, and it starts up front in the trenches. And Z is a big
Absolutely.
component. He's a big believer in that we need extra help at the guard, at one of our left guard and our right tackle position. He's not necessarily sold on Allegretti. I don't know if I agree. I think Allegretti was cool, but we definitely need more depth there. But like I said, my number one target for us, outside of the first or second round, would be this guy, Savion Williams. And if you haven't done so, go look at his highlights. I'm going to put him up on the page. He reminds me of Deebo Samuel. He lines up everywhere. He's a former quarterback. He's 6'5", runs a 4.45 in the 40-yard dash. So he has some speed. And at 6'5", he can go up and catch it over top of you. So he definitely will be a big red zone threat, as well as, running it outside of the backfield, giving teams a different look in this year two of Cliff Kingsbury's offense with Jaden Daniels. And I think more weapons that you have like that, more Swiss Army knife guys, the better. And I think, that helps us obviously in the run game, and it helps us in the pass game, because he's a dual threat as a receiver and a running back. Nice frame. Shout out to John from Ball in the Burgundy. I was talking to him yesterday. He was saying we have to see him at the combine to see if if he pans out. But the tape told me that I like what I see on the tape. So I had a coach back when I was playing in my days. The eye in the sky never lies. Shout out Coach Money. The eye in the sky never lies. And from this tape that I seen, the guy can do it. He can block. He seems like he's the no Diddy, the full package. But yeah, that's Reedie's number one target in free agency. What do you think that we need to hit first in the first and second rounds, as far as need in this coming draft?
Definitely as far as need per se, I think that and of course free agency could alter this, but I would like to see us draft a edge, in one of the first or two rounds, as well as, depending on, if we can find in a later round, if you can find a real good tackle, what I mean, especially what you're saying with the skill guys, and especially with, at receiver, kind of falls, later rounds. I would like to see us address those trenches, the interior, like I said, the a right tackle or the interior or the edge of the defensive line. We don't have game changers. Deron Payne and John Allen, there's the big Bama boys. There are two interior tackles. They're not, they're not reckoning, they're not causing enough havoc there. I love Deron Payne. John Allen, salute to him for working his way back and kind of making that playoff push and getting back with the guys, and coming back from that, what was a pectoral injury. But they just still not doing enough, and both of them are over 20 million dollar cap hits. So you know what I mean. I feel like that we need to address one of those positions because I think at least one of them will be gone. And then, you know, what I mean, if we're looking at the numbers, it looks like John Allen will be more movable, whether through release or trade, because you know, we can save like 17 million on the cap by doing so. Where Deron Payne, you know, his contract and his numbers are a little higher, so it may be a little bit more tougher to move him.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. If there is someone that we can move out of here, it definitely is not Deron Payne, excuse me, I'm speaking too fast. It's Jonathan Allen with that 17 million that we could save under the cap. We're coming in around 91 million right now. As far as cap space, so you figure that 17 million will bode well for us. But I'm seeing all over the internet that everybody is saying that they want T. Higgins as our number 1B receiver. Z, you're not necessarily like you're sold on T. Higgins as the player. So let me just make that correct. But you're not necessarily sold on the number that it's going to cost for us to bring him in here. So talk a little bit about that and why you feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I love T. Higgins as a player, and I think that he would fit this offense well. I love his stature, you know what I mean, what he can do on the field. And I think he'd be a hell of a compliment on the opposite side of Terry McLaurin. But my biggest issue is one, he's going to cost 20 plus against the cap. I mean, per year on average salary. You know what I mean? You look at it, he probably a deal for T. Higgins probably would be in the range of 25 to 28 million. You know what I mean? You still got to re-sign Terry. And I only see a move like that being added at receiver unless, like we just said, you've read one of those guys on the defense to kind of complement that salary because we have so many other needs. You know what I mean? A guy that I think that comes to mind that's not really getting a lot of buzz is Chris Godwin. I think that Chris Godwin would be much cheaper. You know what I mean? And you know, he's a solid player. He has had injuries. So he might, you know, come in on a prove it deal or whatever that might be. So if AP and DQ are looking for like, you know, a solid veteran, the complimentary, but at a cheaper number, I think Chris Godwin fits that mold. And you've seen what the prove it deals has done with a lot of the guys that we signed last year. They stayed healthy and they stepped up. But again, I would love to have T. Higgins. It just have to make sense dollars wise. And Cincinnati could, you know, give Chase his deal and franchise T. Higgins. And, you know, what I mean, in a situation where they may not want to let him go. And so if we putting all our marbles and our eggs on T. Higgins, you know, we got to plan for if that doesn't happen. And I think Godwin will definitely be another complementary to that. Because I see with Tampa Bay, like we just said, where he had those injuries, and with him being injured, it didn't really stop Tampa Bay's offense. McMillan stepped in and hooped. So, you know, it makes sense where he may be more of a walkable player from his previous team than T. Higgins.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a little concern with me on Godwin coming off the ACL knee injury that he sustained. I can't remember what game it was at the end. It was like the last play of the game they were going for it, and he got second to last play of the game or something like that. And he got injured. Can't remember who they were
Hmm.
playing. But yeah, like I don't know if I'm necessarily sold on him this year coming back because I feel like we have to maximize this 4 to 5 year we have 4 year window left with on Jaden Daniels under a rookie contract. So we got to get what we can get. And then Terry McLaurin is also going to come up for a contract extension. This is the last year of his deal, so we still have to pay him, and that's the number one priority to me
Absolutely.
on our team is to make sure that we keep Terry and make him a commander for life. So I would say out of the notable free agents that's left at the wide receiver position, you got guys like Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins. You got Keenan Allen. I like Keenan Allen, and I'm gonna tell you why. Keenan Allen is a possession receiver. He's going to go get those 10 yards at the sticks, your slants, your curls, your outs, your drags, anything like that underneath. He's going to be on point, and he can go up and go over top of somebody and get it. And I still think he has a lot left to give. You sign him on a 2 year, 3 year, a 2 year deal. Bring him in here. So that would be one of the guys that I would bring in because Godwin's injury history this last year, and I'm not necessarily sold that he's going to be ready to go. If he didn't have the injury, I obviously would say Godwin, but that's the guy that I would say that we need to bring in free agency if we don't get Higgins. Higgins obviously is my number one choice, but I understand, we got a lot of holes to fill as it relates to the defensive line and other gaps. We have to bring back our middle linebacker. We got to bring back. We got to either draft or bring in another tight end. We have to bring in. We have to re-sign our safety, our strong safety, which is a priority for me. Bringing back Jeremy Chin because Jeremy Chin balled out, and I think if you have Jeremy Chin in a traditional strong safety role where he's not necessarily having to be down. Well, he comes down in the box, but just plays that safety. I think he'll be better at that. You bring in another linebacker to, help out with bring back Wagner and bring in another linebacker to help out with that, like a Zach Bond or something like that. Somebody that's that can get a couple more years, But that's to see. I think the Eagles are not going to necessarily let him go, but that's the best linebacker that I've seen this season. Zach Bond for the 49. He came out of, not for the 49, for the Eagles. He came out of nowhere. So that would be my choice at the wide receiver position. But what are some of the other key positions that you think we need to prioritize in free agency versus the draft?
Like we said, definitely. Like I mentioned, I think we need an upgrade from Allegretti. Allegretti is cool. I don't think that he's like a lock-in starter. He had a few struggles this year. Coleman's going to be in his second year, so he should be honest, is already Cosme. We're gonna need a right guard. Like you said, we need a right tackle. I don't think we re-sign Wiley unless he's going to take like a pay cut to be a depth guy, because we definitely need even though he was better than we thought, we need a huge upgrade from that. That's on the offensive side. Of course, we know we need a running back. I think that'll be addressed. My bad, we lost me there. I definitely think that running back will be potentially addressed in the draft. And then on the defensive side of things, we're gonna need some linebacker depth. Bobby Wagner, we got to get an interior linebacker. Bobby Wagner will definitely likely be retained, but when it comes to running sideline to sideline, he's he's pretty slow. He can't cover as well, but against the run, he's definitely stout. So we need to be able to kind of address that and get some guys in the mix to kind of be able to complement that. And of course, I think we need to look at a free safety. Cornerback, of course, you got to get somebody else in the mix, but I don't think that's as huge as a need as the other positions, because I think with another year, Lattimore should be stronger. And if not, then he's likely will be done. You got Mikey on the other side. I think another corner allows Mikey to move inside, but that probably be addressed free agency as well. Because unless they do like a later round pick, I don't think they're gonna drop another top pick on the corner unless it's just a best available guy out there.
Yeah, there are a lot of corners that we can kind of target in free agency. You got DJ Reed out there, Chavarius Ward, Rasul Douglas, Carlton Davis, Byron Murphy, Asante Samuel Jr., Mike Hilton, just to name a few. Some of the safeties out there, Javon Holland, Buda Baker. So there's some guys out there that we can possibly bring. And with this being a destination, I don't necessarily think that we're going to have to break the bank for some of these guys. And I also think that they're going to be on their 2-year contracts, short contracts, not trying to necessarily lock up all of this money, because like I said, you got to sign Terry, and then they have to make sure that they have money for when Jaden Daniels comes up for his contract. So I don't think these are going to be long-term contracts at all, to say the least. But it's a lot of quality edge rushers out there. Hassan Reddick, Khalil Mack, Josh Sweat, your man Chase Young, Matthew Judon. So the offseason is, as far as free agents, is It's a variety of guys. It's just pick your poison. Who do you think is a commander? Who do you think is a guy that's going to come in here and make plays? Who do you think is a guy that's a hard worker? Who do you think is a guy that has those intangibles that Dan Quinn and this defense is looking for? Who are these guys that live the mantra that ball is life, anybody, anywhere, anytime? You know what I'm saying? That's what it's gonna come down to in this free agency period. And I'm glad that Lance Newmark stayed on board because that was one of my favorite hires of last year. And I was telling Z, I was a little worried when he got that interview and it was looking like he was going to the Jets. And I'm glad that I seen him at the practice and he's here to stay. So the title is NFL teams scaring Commanders fans. And we're saying that they're scaring Commanders fans because they're trying to poach our people. And we need to keep our people. That's why it's the title. Somebody made a comment saying that the title, that they didn't like the title, but that's why it's the title, because they're trying to take our coaching staff, our all-star coaching staff away.
Yeah, definitely. What I mean, they're trying to pluck us apart. I mean, and nothing, it's only one that's been really official, but there's definitely been some names floating around. Like our assistant QB coach, David Blau. He got requests from the Jets and the Jaguars to interview for their QB coach position. They also saying the Bears may be in the mix because he has ties to Ben Johnson. Also, Tavita Pritchard, he interviewed for Jacksonville's OC job, so that's something to look out on. And as of yesterday, we found out that Brian Johnson is interviewing today with the Houston Texans for their OC job. So that's three guys just from our offense alone, who's definitely getting, a lot of interest around the league. And I mean, I expected that for Brian Johnson, because he was the Eagles OC prior to being let go right before they got Kellen Moore. I mean, he did pretty well. I think he kind of took the fall for them losing, having a down year. But so when we got him, I was like, I didn't expect him to be here long. But it's definitely a great hire, and I would love to see him stick around. But that's definitely like a name that we're going to constantly see in the mix. So that's expected. And the Houston Texans offense, they got some weapons. So, if somebody was to leave and if he was to choose to do that, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at him. Dan Quinn spoke about it. He said, we're not only developing players, we're developing coaches as well. So, it's expected that some of these guys may be on the move. And, we just got to live with it, next man up. Just like with the players, you got to do that with the coaches. And I feel like with us having that all-star staff from, the main key positions to the assistants, I think that it makes us an easy transition. If one of the, top guys leave, the next man up should be able to fill those shoes and do pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. We lost our assistant special teams coordinator today. He's going to be the linebackers coach for the who was it, Z? I forget. It's I think it's the Raiders.
I can tell you real quick.
Because I think he was
Yeah, he
with
went
he
to the
was a linebackers
Raiders.
coach in Seattle. So um
Correct. Yeah, his name is John Glenn. He was our assistant special teams coach. He went to be the linebackers coach with the Raiders. He was there with Pete Carroll for seasons. So
yeah.
Pete Carroll just hired with the Raiders, so he kind of pulled one of his guys. And it was another guy that we were saying on our team that Pete Carroll may be interested in. I got to double check who it was, but it was someone. Oh, Ken Norton. Don't be surprised if Pete Carroll try to, pull Ken Norton over there because that's one of his guys, and he was on that staff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm in the comments on Instagram, people are out here saying we should go get DK Metcalf. But my question is to you guys, and I pose this question to the good guys over at OTF podcast. They posted it in a story like go get DK Metcalf. But my question was, what's the path to that? Like, explain to me the path to
Yeah,
get DK Metcalf. What path, do we do to go get a DK Metcalf?
yeah. I mean, in my opinion, he's not a free agent, so it's definitely going to take a trade.
Right.
They're just not just going to give him away. DK is like stupid athletic. speed. What I mean, big guy, but I don't know. I have questions about his heart. I feel like DK is soft. Like he's a crybaby in a sense sometimes, which, can kind of get into your mental and affect your game at times and take you out of your mental space. So me personally, I mean, it'd be great to have him, but it's like, is it worth giving up something to get him? And then if he come in and be whiny, I don't know. I'm not. I never really. I don't really feel too on board with that move. Per se. And I mean, giving up access, like we gave up a few picks for Marshawn, so trading for another person to happen to give up access, unless it's a future pick, I don't know. I want to DQ. I mean, AP talked about building through the draft, so we got to make sure we stick to that, and I think he's real serious about that.
Yeah, do me a favor if you haven't already done so. Like, share, subscribe, share the broadcast. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Share it with your fellow Commander fans, and thank you for everybody that taps in with us weekly or daily or however many times a week that we put up content, engaging in the comments on Instagram. We're getting some great feedback from you guys. Just continue to do that. Like we always say on this show, we just two guys that just love this team and love talking about this team. And like I said before, Reedie is back. I am officially out of depression. So, tap in with me. I'm going to respond again because, like I said, after the game, I was a little bit, hurt that we didn't pull it, that we didn't make a better showing. Not necessarily that we lost, but that we didn't make a better showing. Because I felt as though when we got the ball and we was down 11, we had the ball. I think that was the Austin Eckler fumble. I feel like that was the turning point in the game. And I feel like we could have went down and scored the way that drive was started off moving. We could have went down and made it a 4-point game, and we was in there. Just a lot of different, things that happened in that game, but no need to, dwell on spoiled milk. We are out of there. The Eagles were the better team that day, and they are on to face the hated Kansas City Chiefs, who are trying to three-peat. And I think I'm gonna take Kansas City in this game. I'm going for Kansas City all the way. Yeah. So, what else you got? What else you got, bro? What else you want to hit on before we wrap
Uh,
this up?
no, I mean, we had three key points. We talked about the coaches, we talked about free agency, and we talked about the draft. I mean, we'll definitely touch more on some key other points on the next episode. It's looking like it's gonna be on the Monday command. We'll dig a little deeper, but for now, I feel like we hit all cylinders.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to Kate. Kate on Instagram for staying down, always supporting the channel, always supporting the page, always comment, always just being engaged with us. Shout out Kate if you could hear me, man. Thank you from Reedie from the and Z from the bottom of my heart. We appreciate y'all. But if Z has no further, you can catch us for Monday Command this coming Monday, and we have something special coming to you guys this off season, and I'll give you guys developments on that later. It's a collaboration with a couple of your top YouTubers, content creators as it relates to the Washington Commanders, and you can catch that here. We're going to do a weekly show, bringing you guys all of our ideas, all of what we think this team needs this coming off season. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tapping in. If you haven't done so, like, share, subscribe. And also, if you haven't done so, follow us on Instagram because we post everything on Instagram, all breaking developments about this team, everything that comes out. We're kind of like the Adam Schefter and Ian Capoport for the Washington Commanders, channel Reedie and Z. You heard it here first. But without further ado, Reedie and Z, hit the sponsors, Z. My bad. Hit the sponsors.
Yeah, shout out to our sponsors at the Pie Guy, ThePiegye, best sweet potato pie out here. Surrey's Catering at SURAES Catering, best fried chicken in the world. KB3
Facts.
Events. Um, is it what is it? Go ahead and shoot that at Reedy.
At
Okay,
KB3 on Instagram.
at KB3 on Instagram. They're very, top tier in the event space, event planning space, and decorating, and also great clothing line at GR8. clothing line on Instagram and all platforms. If you're looking for any custom gear, just or sportswear in itself, definitely tap in with us. And like he said, follow us at Reedie on all platforms. Until next time.